Okay, USDA appears to lack consistent review process. This is the most frustrating part, which I kind of understand because it's hard creating a consistent process for this. But it says the process for considering an expedite request is confusing, impractical, and inconsistent for stakeholders. Although USCIS reviews expedite requests according to the guidance outlined in the policy manual, the agency currently does not have a single standard operating procedure for reviewing expedite requests. Each officer determines its own process based on resources and duties as they're assigned. So that's a big mess right there. And it's one of those things. Sometimes you call and even on the first line, so when you call USCIS, they're supposed to just take notes and then hand it off. But sometimes you talk to the officer, they seem very helpful. And some of them, they already act like, oh, we're going to deny you. I'm not going to do it. So I've had colleagues say they'll just hang up and call USCIS again if the initial officer on the phone is not helpful, because they're already going to sabotage things for you anyways. And then sometimes you make multiple requests. Sometimes you get Congress people. It depends on who's getting the case. The CIS ombudsman understands that stakeholders generally expect that once they submit an expedite request, USCIS will direct it to the adjudicating officer reviewing the pending application or petition. Hence, there's a general assumption that if the officer agrees to expedite the case, USCIS will immediately act on the pending immigration benefit. However, unless they submit their request as a follow-up to an interview or in response to a request for evidence, it is rare that the request will go directly to an adjudicator. Rather, in most cases, the requests are reviewed by officers specifically assigned to expedite requests, and they do not immediately send these requests to the adjudicating officer. So it's a little bit back house behind the scenes of what's going on here and how bad the system's process is for you. Initiating an expedite request is particularly problematic for individuals contacting the Vermont Service Center or the NSC or Nebraska Service Center. For those who are afforded certain privacy protections, namely VAWA, self-petitioners, UNT visas, the applicants or their representatives can directly contact the visa unit at the service center having jurisdiction over their case. Problems arising, however, when the application is not a primary benefit pending at the unit, but an application pending elsewhere. This privacy protections continue even after the prime benefit is secured. For example, applications or the representatives contacting the NSC Humanitarian Unit hotline to expedite a work permit not pending at the NSC will be instructed to call the contact center, as the NSC does not have jurisdiction over the application. But the confidentiality provisions of these cases prevent the contact center from handling the request. There appears to be no straightforward way to seek an expedite from the agency in these scenarios. Complete nightmare. These are people who are VAWA, U visa, T visa. These are people who need work permits because they're just like going through hell right now. So, that's frustrating. Beyond the caveat that expedite requests appearing to meet the eligibility requirement may not result in expedite, there is no transparency as to which expedite requests get accepted for review and which, even with similar circumstances, do not. Stakeholders have indicated that agency rejects some expedite requests within the same business day, even immediately after receiving it, without providing the requester an opportunity to submit additional documents. Meanwhile, USCIS does not acknowledge your expedite requests at all. So the process is inconsistent, and that's just so important because we're dealing with this so much more. People are needing it.